Hey guys, what's up? Shadowlands back for another video. I know it's been a little while, sorry I was taking a little break. I am now deciding to get into full swing for this, and I have an actual commentary for you guys today as opposed to me just rambling like usual. So, anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that I saw on the internet. I've seen it actually a few times. The first time I saw it was actually on my high school AP Comp Lit wall. It was a picture that was hanging on the wall for a while. It just says potential. Not everyone has the ability to be an astronaut when they grow up, or something along those lines. I'll post it here for you guys to see. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. What is potential? I kind of see it as there's two kinds of potential, and I want to draw this into our potential as gamers as well, because I feel like it's directly relevant to that, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I want to talk about what I think are the two kinds of potential. First of all, I'm going to call them two different kinds. There's innate potential, which is the one that I think most people think of when they look at pictures like this, and then there's also circumstantial potential, and that's stuff that we don't really have a lot of direct control over ourselves. Now, sometimes we do, and in some situations we do, and I'll get to that in a minute, but for now I want to talk about innate potential first. Now, a lot of times when people think about this is, oh, what can you do as a person? What is your absolute maximum value as a person in terms of potential? Now, when I talk about this, I'm saying, okay, personally, I'm really bad at math. Like, naturally, I'm not good at math. My brain is not good at thinking about math because it's very abstract. I'm not good at that. On the other hand, surprisingly, I'm pretty good at physics. I'm good at getting my head around physics concepts. I'm really good at working in units and stuff like that. So that's something I'm really good at. On the other hand, I'm a pretty good runner. I can run a pretty good distance, but I can't lift 1,000,000 pounds. I'm not very strong. I think my max bench press has only ever been 200 pounds, compared to a lot of my friends who can bench well over 200 pounds. So that being said, there's different potential going on there, and it applies to a lot of different areas of your life. Now, circumstantial is a little bit different. That's what you're born with and what you have very little control over usually. Now, when I say usually, of course, there's some other things that can happen. You could win the lottery, you can land that amazing job offer and do a lot of stuff like that to change your situation. But primarily, it's about things like, where do you live? How good was your upbringing? Did you have a very supportive family? Did you guys have a lot of money as a kid? So did you have a lot of opportunities? Stuff like that. Things that you really don't have a lot of control over, especially when you're younger, which is during some of the most important time of your life when you're growing up and learning life values and lessons and such. So innate abilities like that you can nurture, and it'll kind of get strong, and you can be really, really good and competitive with other people. And a lot of times that is really, really excel in life. You go into a field in that area and stuff like that. Sometimes you don't, but that's a different story for another time. That being said, so now we've established there are two different kinds of potential. A lot of times you have control over one, and a lot of times you don't have control over something else. That's just what life hands us. That's just the hand of cards you've been given, and a lot of times you don't have control over that. So it's kind of like you don't have control over what you don't have control over, and it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but that's another topic for another time. What I want to get into now is how that affects us as gamers. Now, for one thing, you're going to look at some people and say, oh my god, he's so crappy at this game, why does he even play it? And a lot of times the answer is he's just doing it for fun or whatever, she's just doing it for fun. It doesn't really matter. But what I want to talk about today is a lot of people who break into first-person shooters for the first time aren't that great at them. And it's a very unique skill set, a very interesting mindset. In fact, I don't think there's a lot of games that aren't first-person shooters that use those same skills. I think there's a very limited number of them. I'd say like one of them would be Smash Bros. Melee. Arguably, there's a couple of racing games that might have some of those same skill sets. Like I know the F-Zero games where you're required to move really, really fast. You're literally moving at thousands of miles per hour, and being able to control that speed is very crazy. FPSs are a lot like that. They're very reactionary based. How do you train yourself to react and stuff like that? And some people just don't work like that. Their brains don't want to work that fast, and they're not used to thinking in that mindset, and it's very difficult for them to pick that up. To be very honest, that's me. Naturally, I am not good at first-person shooters. I suck balls at first-person shooters naturally. I've just played them so much because I like playing them. I think they're fun. But that being said, something I am really good at. I'm really solid at RPGs. And now, I'm not talking like MOBAs like League of Legends and such. I suck at those for the same reason that I innately suck at first-person shooters, because it requires me to think in real time very constantly and make snap decisions. I'm not great at that, to be honest. My better strength lies with games like Pokemon or Final Fantasy or Fire Emblem, or games where you need to take your time, think it out. More games like chess, where you can actually take your time, think out your next move, make a strategy, plan ahead, and move forward with it. And if something changes, you can be planned for that. Whereas if something doesn't go your way in first-person shooters, you just die, and then you respawn and you try again. And although that's kind of an interesting thing, by that time the situation has changed and you have no time to come up with another plan again. So that's the kind of potential I'm talking about. There's certain things that you can be good at and certain things that you can't be good at. Now that's the innate potential of a gamer. Now I want to talk about the circumstantial potential of a gamer. And now this is very, very heavily reliant on two things. One, the amount of time that a person has to invest in something like this. It's a hobby. Gaming is a hobby for a lot of people. Some people it's a job, but for the most of you I'm going to assume that this is not a job. I wouldn't even call this a job for myself as YouTube. YouTube is more something I do as a hobby. I do it for fun. I don't post videos literally every day, and it's not my primary source of income. So no, I would not consider it a job. So for the most of us, I would say that gaming is a hobby that we all really enjoy. Some of us have more time to invest into it than others. And so that's where I want to say the first thing that a lot of people really are restrained by is time. The second thing is also pretty obvious as well. Money. Not all of us can afford all the brand new games that come out. That's why a lot of us are playing Combat Arms, or games that are free to play otherwise. That being said, free-to-play games are fine, don't get anything wrong there, I'm not dissing free-to-play games or anything. That being said, so a lot of people are restricted by money. They can't afford that really good computer to run the game at a high enough FPS rate to be competitive with other players. Some of us really are stuck at playing at 30 frames per second, and yeah, that really sucks. I can't really give any other advice on that other than try to find some ways to speed up your computer, but some of us are stuck at playing at 30 frames per second, while others of us can run, Crysis at 800 frames per second and record at 400 and all that crazy stuff over there, and they have really powerful computers because they've spent the money to get them, or somehow they've acquired these computers, and it's really, really good to do that. So that's another thing that's really restraining for a lot of people. Not to mention, then there's console games. Can you afford the new console to buy all the new games? Or, hey, look, The Division came out last month. Are you able to afford The Division? All your friends are playing it, but I guess you can't because you don't have the money to. So that's another thing that's circumstantial. Not everyone can afford what they want to buy, or they can't afford whatever the newest game is, so they can't get into the latest trends. And that's why another reason, it's not just innate ability that affects what a gamer is able to do. So if someone's been playing the game for a while ahead of time, so for example, if I couldn't have bought a game that came out on day one that all my friends did, and they were practicing it for 3 months ahead of time, I'm going to break into the game when I can finally afford it, and maybe even some of my friends have stopped playing it by then. So I can never keep up with the latest times unless I were to save money ahead of time for that express purpose. That being said, so now we have time and money established as what is a circumstantial thing that you may not be able to put time into or put money into in order to succeed in video games. And then we talked about innate gaming earlier, where are you good at FPSs naturally? Are you good at RPGs naturally? Are you good at MOBAs naturally? What are you good at? What does your brain like to think about? How does it function? And that's different for every person. And it's okay to not be good at a game. I mean, yes, some people will forever be, quote, the noob at first-person shooters. Some people will always suck at MOBAs. Like, if I go there and play League, I'm hilariously bad at it. I can make a commentary, I can make a comedy video over how bad I am at League of Legends. It's hilarious how bad I am at that game. Anyway, aside from that, that's just something I want to touch on today. So the next time that noob just throws down a turret in the wrong place and gets his whole team killed, maybe think for a second, okay, he may not be the smartest person ever, but he also probably just isn't that good at first-person shooters naturally. And it's not necessarily fair to always make fun of that person because, you know what? I suck at math too. My friends all made fun of me for it in high school and early college, and you know what? It's okay. I'm better at physics. I accept that. And I know a lot of people are going to be able to get past that as well, so just think about that for yourself for a little while today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shadowlance out.
Enemy down.
Round start.
Enemy down.
Round start. Watch your shot. Round start.
Grenade. Grenade.
Round start. Alpha team wins.